The Ride Home Rants podcast is brought to you by Reaper Apparel Company. Reaper Apparel offers a casual line of superb fit, finish, and comfort. We design for those who refuse to die slowly and choose to live untamed. For those who aren't afraid to face the dark, for the ones that thrive in it, and for those who can appreciate life through a grim lens. That's Reaper Apparel Company. Go to the link in the description of this episode, use the promo code Mike Bono, and get 10% off. Also, the Ride Home Rants podcast is brought to you by my own personal merch store, the Stupid Should Hurt merch store. I have hats, I have t-shirts, hoodies, coffee mugs, water bottles, notebooks, you name it, I've got it. The description and the link for that will be in the description of this episode. Also, right now, if you use the promo code WELCOME, I will give you 5% off of your first purchase. That's the Stupid Should Hurt merch store. Also, the Ride Home Rants podcast is brought to you by Tactical Brotherhood, all American-made apparel, which helps support the Second Amendment. You can also find all this in the description of this episode with the link, Tactical Brotherhood. Part of every proceed does go to helping veterans, as it is a very good cause. All American-made products made right here in Minnesota. Go and check them out. Use the promo code PATRIOT15 to get 15% off your purchase. Now, let's start the show. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Ride Home Rants podcast. This is, as always, your host, Mike Bono. I have a phenomenal episode for us this week. My guest today, he is a Bethany College senior. He is a football player, not from the great state of West Virginia. He is, I believe, in Michigan. I know me in Ohio talking to someone from Michigan is probably controversial, but that's what I'm here for. Joey Katavitch joined the show, and I know I just butchered his name. I said it like 30 times before we started. Joey, sorry about that. Thanks for joining, man.
Yeah, no problem.
Hey, man. So, first and foremost, thanks for being on the show. But being at Bethany, what's your major at Bethany, and why did you choose that?
I originally went in as a pre-engineering major because I went in originally playing football, and I was doing all that with a minor in chemistry. And then after my first year of football, I was like, I'm not as good as half of these other guys on the team anymore. Didn't really make it up anywhere. So I ended up being done with that. And then I ended up getting another signed to be a dual major in pre-engineering and chemistry, and then picking up a math minor. So pretty busy.
I would say, I'm glad you got time to take a minute to talk to us here with that type of workload. I'm sure you have. So with that, what do you plan to do after graduation, buddy?
So I'd always wanted to be an engineer. I was bouncing between mechanical engineering. Right before I got into college, my senior year of high school, I was my physics teacher at the time, he was big into like NASA and SpaceX and all that. So then I decided to go aerospace, and then I took organic chemistry my sophomore this past year and at Bethany, and I just kind of fell in love with chemistry, and so then I decided to just go with the chemical engineering. And then over the past summer, I got my internship, drove out to Michigan for work and all that, and it was I just enjoyed it so much, and so I'm just gonna stick with the engineering track and hopefully continue doing like almost environmental engineering. Is kind of what it was like.
So what was the internship? I know it sounded like you had a pretty cool internship over the summer. So what was that? Take me through a little bit of what you had to do there.
Yeah, so I worked for like an environmental service company based out of Niagara Falls, and my uncle and my family's always worked for them. Like my grandpa worked for them, so that was kind of cool, just getting to see some of those people. And then, so my uncle asked me if I wanted it. I got to take the opportunity to get out of northwestern PA for a bit and drive out to Kalamazoo, Michigan, where we were cleaning up the Kalamazoo River. So it was pretty cool.
That sounds awesome, man. Like, I mean, I was a communications major in sports broadcasting. with a minor in accounting business management when I was at Bethany. Did mine at WTOV9, so that's a lot cooler than me working with Don Sloan and Rob Metzger at WTOV9. So that's way above my education level too, man. I applaud you for that. You don't become a comedian when you're book smart. You know what I mean? That's not really a career path for comedians.
Yep.
Yeah. So a little bit of a lighter note. While you're at Bethany, you're not only just a student. You played football there. So what was it like playing football your freshman year in the spring during the pandemic? Because I've asked every player this, so I just like to get everybody's take on it.
Yeah, it was weird for me. I mean, I was weird like going into the fall even. Like the pandemic had just started and all this and that, and like I'd always heard about going to football camp there 2 weeks early, and we didn't end up doing that. And then we went through all the practices, played in the green and white game, which was our homecoming, which was kind of weird playing your teammates for your homecoming game.
Yeah.
That was weird. And then, unfortunately, like whenever we did have our actual football camp, my roommate had gotten COVID, so I got sent home those 2 weeks. But it was a change for me, that's for sure, because whenever we started, it was still snowing out. I can remember they had to get tractors out on the field to clear off the snow. And I can remember going out there the first time being like, I'm practicing on basically an iced over pond is what it felt like.
Oh, yeah. The snow games were my time playing. I mean, back when I played, everybody had natural grass. It was rare for a team to have turf. And you want to talk about landing on a brick of ice, playing on natural grass in the wintertime and when the snow started to fall, it was brutal, but I love the cold weather games. What about you? I mean, do you like the cold weather games when you played, or is it you more like the let's keep it warm and let's play?
I personally like the cold weather games the best. I mean, I sweat too much in the summer, so the hot weather and me just don't mix well. But my personal favorite was back in high school. We had all grass, everything. So whenever it rained and we got to play in a game in the rain, that was always the best time, playing in the mud bowls.
Oh yeah, I have one from high school, a mud bowl that I'll never forget. It was Buckeye local. I played at Brook High School, not too far away from Bethany College, and I was a special teamer when I played. Kickoff coverage and everything like that, and I just remember, we had an hour and a half rain delay because of lightning. By the time we get out there, you could barely see lines on the field, and everything like that. I just remember running down on the opening kickoff and seeing the ball carrier coming right at me. I was like, all right, I got him. And he slipped right as I was going to tackle, and I rolled over him. From then on out, the announcers couldn't read my number. They had no idea because I was just covered in mud from the first play. Was the best game in the world. Like I love the mud bowls, the slipperiness, the rain. It adds a whole nother. Throw records and talent out the window when you have a mud bowl or anything like that. That's always fun for me. I love the weather games. That's why like teams like, oh, why doesn't Green Bay put a dome over that? It's like that's part of playing in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Like the weather in December and November right now. You know what I mean? Like that's what it's all about.
Yeah, the snow bowls. I mean, sometimes those are even better than the mud bowls, depending on how much you get.
Yeah, I haven't played in a lot of snow games, but enough that I don't miss hitting the ground when it's that cold, though. That's the one thing.
I definitely agree with that.
All right, so also, well, your time at Bethany here, you're not just a student or an athlete. You also joined a fraternity out there. So what fraternity are you a part of?
I joined Alpha Sigma Phi.
Alpha Sig, okay. I am a Delt. I was a Delta Tau Delta when I was out there, so up on Greek Hill. And I got to know this. First off, what made you want to go Greek?
I originally didn't want to, and then my RA at the time, he was like one of the few people I knew. He asked me to come down to his room to talk. I was going to get in trouble. And And then he just asked me if I wanted to go. I went up and I went to some of their events, got along with a bunch of the guys up there, and I said, I'm just going to join. And it's been history ever since then.
I have a very similar story. Now, did you join your freshman year?
Yep.
Okay. See, mine's a little different then, I guess. But I went to Bethany. I was like, I'm not going to join a fraternity. I don't need to. Blah blah blah. I'm already an athlete. I'm a swimmer. I'm going to be too busy as it is. Blah blah blah. A couple of guys I went to high school with were out there, and they started talking to me about Greek life and everything like that. And I was like, all right, I'll check it out. And went up a couple times my freshman year. I was like, hey, guy, I really don't think this is for me, you know. And then sophomore year, really decided, like, you know what? I'm up here all the time anyways. Like, I'm hanging out with these guys as it is. I might as well join. And it's probably been one of the best decisions I've made was, you know, joining the Greek community and the fraternity life out at Bethany. You know, made a lot of long-lasting, you know, friendships and everything like that. Get to have a lot of fun. My favorite part of Greek life at Bethany is Greek Week. Have you guys had it with the pandemic and everything going on, and how has that been?
We've had it, and then we've had it the past 2 years that I've been here. And the first year we had to cancel early because of COVID. Right. And then just after that, I mean, we still have all the same events like the pyramid and all that stuff and Greek Sing. I mean, I feel like it was more fun in the past, but I mean, it's still one of those times where you get to go together, go head to head with all the other Greek houses and just compete.
I gotta know, is it still Greek Hill versus the downtown houses? Is there still kind of that like rivalry with everything?
Not really, I wouldn't say. I mean, there's only one house downtown anymore. For the majority, everyone's up on the hill.
Okay, I get it. There was about 3 or 4 houses downtown when I was at Bethany. It was Kappa Alpha, which isn't there. They weren't there. They left. They got shut down before I even left. Sigma, Nu, and then Beta. I'm guessing Beta's the only one still downtown, right?
Yeah, Beta's the only one left right now.
See, that was a huge thing with Greek Week when I was there. It was all the houses on top of the hill versus the downtown houses. And, I mean, everybody, we didn't care where the cup went, the Greek Week Championship Cup went, as long as it came up on Greek Hill, because that was the best party out Bethany, was after Greek Week. After that, I gotta say though, for the 5 years, yes, I did a victory lap. 5 years I was at Bethany College. Delt won it every year. We had won it every year, and that was the big thing. Like, oh, we got to go up against Delt. Like, are they still kind of like that powerhouse with Greek Week? Because I know the dynamics in the houses have changed since I've been there.
No, not too much anymore. I mean, they're kind of in a rebuilding. I think they just came back like the year before I got there, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen a lot of things on social media, and I got to tell you, when I was there, they tried shutting us down a lot. They tried shutting us down a lot. Never really were successful at it, but it was close a couple of times. But you know, it's just something that's, you know, fun, and for everybody out there that's, you know, hearing these stories, like, oh, see, I knew it was just a big party to join a fraternity. That's the only reason you joined it. No, there was a lot of cool things that, you know, we did on the side. Yes, partying was one of those, but a lot of philanthropy things that I don't think people know about with fraternities, because they see the movies Animal House and all that, and that's where they get their association. Oddly enough, Animal House, if you watch very closely when the car comes through, is actually made after Delta Tau Delta, my fraternity. If you look when it comes through, you will see the Greek letters on the side of the truck, and it cuts real quick. You got to look real quick and know what you're looking for, because it does say it on the side of the car. But I digress with that. So what philanthropy does Alpha Sig do now?
So we have 5 different ones right now. I mean, the big one that we really hit hard is RAIN. And that is, I can't remember off the top of my head exactly, but we have 5 big ones. I know one's veterans, homes for veterans. alive, aware, awake. And then it's about all I can remember right now. But I mean, we do roughly like try to get at least once a month. And they just had Pi Sig. Unfortunately, I wasn't there. I had a vacation planned and went down to Nashville for that. But I mean, we also do like cook hot dogs and raise money for our philanthropies and do all that type of stuff.
Yeah, see, when our philanthropy was Big Brothers Big Sisters when I was there for Delt. Then we went to Bleed Purple. But one thing I got to know, I haven't talked to a Bethanian who's still there right now, especially on Greek Hill. I know the Zetas, the sorority, they're still breast cancer awareness. I know that. They're never going to get rid of that. But I know they used to partner up with the Delts, and I was so happy that I did this one because I was the philanthropy chair one year at Bethany when I was at Delt, and we came up with a chicken cookout in the spring, and we called it Eat a Breast, Save a Chest. And it was something fun. I know it went for a long time. Is Eat a Breast, Save a Chest still going on?
I don't believe it is anymore. The only thing somewhat like that is Wing Fest that they didn't find me to do.
Okay, I get it. That's fine. I'm not salty a little bit about that, but that's just something catchy that I came up with, and they were like, "That's never gonna go over. Eat a breast, save a chest." You wouldn't believe the amount of people that came up to the chicken cookout at Delt when we ran that there. It was phenomenal. But I know we got off track with Greek life. I could talk about that all day. I also got to know, why did you choose Bethany?
So, funny story, actually. So, coming in out of high school, I always wanted to play college football, just to say I've done it. I was a college athlete. I went on a couple visits. Falcone actually he got me on a visit down to Bethany whenever he first got down there. That would have been after my sophomore year of high school. He got me and then a couple other people I went to high school with down there. And then I just started my senior year of high school. I just started going around. I went to like Geneva, St. Vincent, W&J, and I can remember this. He also got me into scholarship day down there at Bethany. And I did the interview process for all that. And I can remember I was sitting in my room playing video games, and I was thinking about where to go. I was between St. Vincent and Bethany. And I had made up in my mind I was going to go to St. Vincent. It was right before Christmas. And then not even 5 minutes later, I get a call from Falcone, and he tells me I got my scholarship, my full tuition scholarship. So I was like, well, that changed my plans real quick. Then, yep.
Yeah, that'll change somebody's mind pretty quick. That's a perfect reason, man. I don't blame you. I don't fault you at all for that. I went to Bethany on a swimming scholarship myself, so I definitely get that for sure. Because for everything in me, I was going to WVU. I was going to be a mountaineer. Actually had a scholarship to both schools to swim my junior year of high school, and then hurt my shoulder playing football my senior year, and missed my senior year of swimming at Brook. And everybody but Bethany dropped their scholarships because who's going to take a chance on a hurt athlete, especially a shoulder in swimming. You know what I mean? That's like kind of, you need that to swim a little bit. So that was kind of the reason I chose Bethany, and it was it was pretty close to home for me. Growing up in Fallensby, West Virginia, it's a hop, skip, and a jump, and it was nice. I was away at college, but I wasn't away. You know what I mean? It made it nice for me. But you brought it up, though. I got to talk about him. The wonderful manager of the podcast here, Johnny Fitty Falcone. You played for him at Lakeview your freshman and sophomore year, correct?
Yep.
I was going to check his facts, too. I should have did this before the show, but I was going to check his facts every now and again. So I got to know, what was it like playing for Johnny?
I mean, it was awesome. He coached with my junior high. Whenever, right before I went up there, I can remember he sat us all down. A bunch of the guys that were in 8th grade at the time going to become freshman in high school, and he said, I'm just going to let you guys know now. I'm not going to let you guys go in there and get you killed at practice. He said, that's not how I operate. He said, if you go into practice, you're not going to be going up against any of the big seniors. You're going to be going up against people your competition size. I mean, he did a lot for us. I mean, I can remember going to weightlifting the one time, and he said, all right, if we can get this many people at lifting for this month, I'll bring donuts in the one day for everyone before school. And he pulled through with that. Remember that?
Where was he when I was playing football in high school? Because it was like survival of the fittest out there when I played. I mean, it was a different era. I'm old, man. I get it. Oh man, I would have loved. I hear all these stories all the time, about Johnny, and part of me wishes I was younger to play for him. But you know what? He's been one of my real good friends since Bethany. So I wouldn't change that for the world. I know he listens to these all the time. But it's I love Johnny to death. And I got to tell you one great story. I know some of the older listeners have heard this, but the newer listeners out there, for the longest time when I was at Bethany, I did not know Johnny's real name because everybody knew him as Fitty. And that is because when he transferred to Bethany, they asked him, he walked into the football locker room like he owned the joint, first off. And someone said, hey, man, who are you? He goes, oh, man, you don't know? I'm Fitty from the city. And that was his name. And I had a class with him at Bethany, and they were like, the teacher was just take and roll. All right, John Falcone. I was like, who the fuck is John Falcone? And he was like, yeah. I was like, that's Fitty from the city. No, that's not Johnny Falcone. Like, that's...
Oh, I have to tell my dad that one. He'll think that's hilarious.
Yeah, so do you have any good memories from playing for Fitty from the city? And what are some of those?
Oh, I got two good ones that I can bring up. The one my dad really wants me to bring up because we still laugh about it to this day whenever we see him and bring it up. The first one, I can remember my freshman year. So my dad was a coach as well. And the coach's room back then, we used to call it the Falcon's Nest because in high school we called him the Falcon.
Yeah.
So I can remember I had home ec and I had to bring the baby home to take care of it for the weekend.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, I don't know where I'm going to put this. I'm not going to leave it in the locker room. So I walk in the coach's room and there's a picture of it. It just popped up on Facebook. On my sister posted it. And his face, and you can't see it, but I can just remember him jaw dropped. He's like, what the hell is that? So I bring it in and sit it in there. And then the one my dad wants me to bring up is, so we were at practice one time in the summer. I think it was during 2 days. And there's sweat bees all around. He gets bit by a sweat bee. And he starts going ballistic. He kicks a garbage can, throws all these garbage cans around, runs the football, screaming, yelling, jumping around, freaking out about it. My dad looks at him and goes, it's just a sweat bee. And that's one of the best. That was probably the funniest memory.
Oh, it's classic Fitty. That's classic Johnny, for sure. Yeah, you're definitely going to have to tell your dad about Fitty from the city, for sure. Definitely need to tell him about that because that. I don't think he remembers doing it. I mean, I know he remembers doing it, but it just coming in and that has always been. I still call him Fitty to this day. Like it's hard for me to come on here sometimes and be like Johnny Fitty Falcone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But because he's always been Fitty. Mm-hmm. That's just what it is. And like I said, for the longest time, no idea what his name was. I couldn't. You could have been like, $1 million. What's that kid's name? I'd have been like, I'm out. I got nothing. I don't know. It's Fitty. It's Fitty. That's what his name is. It's this. That's what it would have been for sure. All right. So, Joey, we are running down near the end of the episode, but as everybody knows, I got to get this segment in because old Fitty from the city will kill me if I don't, and that's the Fast Fitty 5. For the new listeners, 5 random questions from the wonderful manager of the podcast, Johnny Fitty Falcone. And Joey, he sent these to me, like, no lie, 2 minutes before we jumped on Zoom. So I'll be reading these for the first time with you. They're kind of rapid fire, but you can elaborate if you need to. So if you're ready, man.
All right, let's go.
Question number 1. What's more impressive, being a professional ballroom dancer or a professional figure skater?
Oh, I'd have to say figure skater. I mean, I can't dance in general, but then just to add skates on ice to it, that's just
I'm with it.
Harder.
I'm with it. I'm with it. Question number 2. Is James Bond overrated or underrated?
See, I've never really seen any of the James Bond movies, but I have to say, the old Sean Connery probably wasn't overrated or underrated, but the newer ones probably are.
Overrated?
Yeah.
All right. I'm with it. I'm old school myself. Question number 3. Oh, this is a fitty question for sure. All right. Would you rather be a grizzly bear or a 12-foot anaconda snake?
I'd have to go with grizzly bears. I hate snakes, but that sounds like something he would ask us in the cafeteria at school. Just walk up and ask us that.
That's a fitty question. I haven't had a good one of those in a couple episodes. I'm kind of glad I got that. Question number 4. What was your favorite year of football ever?
My favorite year, I'd have to go with 8th grade, just because my head coach at that time, we were playing Farrell, and I can remember like the people working the chains weren't doing a good job. We weren't getting any calls, and we were really good that year. We should have beat them. I think we lost all but 3 games that year, and 2 of them we should have won. And I can remember he told me, he said, if anyone moves, just hit them. And then he screamed, "You suck, refs." Got thrown out, ejected, couldn't go to the next game. We're playing a bigger school that next week. We won by like 2 points. And he was in his car on the phone with my dad because he coached junior high with them, with binoculars from the student parking lot. Coach game.
That's phenomenal.
So I'd have to say
amazing.
That year was pretty.
Question number 5. Would you rather be the host of the TV show Family Feud or Jeopardy?
I'd have to say Jeopardy because, I mean, I like to think I'm funny, but some people don't. And I'm just kind of a big history buff and just kind of like knowing a bunch of stuff. So I'd have to go with Jeopardy.
All right. And for everyone out there, that was the Fast Fitty 5, and I'm so glad we had a classic Fitty question in there about an animal. Not as classic. Okay, so I'll bring this up real quick, and I got to know. In the cafeteria, did he always ask you, like, the what-if questions? Like, all right, you're in a racquetball court with, it's you, a grizzly bear, and Conor McGregor. You have pair of boxing gloves, a road flare, and a rake. Who wins? Like,
Yep. He'd ask those all the time. I can remember people coming out of cafeteria with him and being like, he just asked me this or that. And you're like walking down the football, getting ready for stretches, and he just shooting these off at us.
Oh man, I love those questions, and I wish he would put them back up on his Instagram story because I feel like he got a lot of attention with those. Because like I looked forward to opening Instagram, like, all right, what's the question today, Fitty? Like, what do we get today?
I remember those too.
Oh, but all right, that's gonna do it. We're running down near the end of the episode. Joey, I give every guest this opportunity at the end of the show. I'm gonna give you about a minute. If there's anything you want to get out there, anything you want to promote, anything like that, or if you even just have a good message, the floor is yours, my man.
One thing in my short 21 years here, one thing that I've definitely learned is hard work definitely pays off in the long run. I mean, even going to work and getting a job, that was probably sucks in the time, but it keeps you out of trouble and you get to make some money. And the harder you work, the more you can get on your resume. This, that, people that will stand behind you no matter what. And it's just great experience and meet a lot of neat people.
Hey, I love it when a guest has a message like that to end the episode. He's right. Hard work pays off. I've been doing stand-up comedy for 10 years now, and just now got signed by an entertainment company, TL Entertainment. It is going to be the first time I've mentioned them on here, and couldn't be more excited to be with them. And you know what? It's 10 years of hard work that that pays off in the long run. So Joey, thank you for joining us here today. But that is going to do it for this week's episode of the Ride Home Rants podcast. As always, if you enjoyed the show, be a friend, tell a friend. If you didn't, tell them anyways. They might like it just because you didn't. That is going to do it for me, and I will see y'all next week. The Ride Home Rants podcast is brought to you by Dubby Energy. Energy drinks made for gamers, streamers, and podcasters alike. For gamers, streamers, and podcasters alike. Go to the link in the description where you can find the best energy drinks out there. Less caffeine than a cup of coffee. Also, no jitters and no crash afterwards. Use the promo code Mike Bono and get yourself 10% off. Also, the Ride Home Rants podcast is brought to you by my favorite sponsor of the show, and that is Shankit Golf. Golf apparel made for the everyday golfer. We might not go out and shoot a 6 under par. We're probably going to shoot a 6 over par, but this is going to give us the gear that's going to help us rocket on and off of the course. Go to the link in the bio, use the promo code Mike Bono, and get yourself 10% off there as well.